What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Thank you for joining me. I want to talk about these leaked Satoshi Nakamoto, founder of Bitcoin, emails, a few good clips, and then a cause of concern from some of the actions of some of the world's most powerful billionaires. But the opposite of a cause for concern first. Look at this tweet right here. Bitcoin wallet number 29. And look at their history. It gets pretty crazy. You can see on the 23rd, yesterday, they made a purchase of 26,000 Bitcoins. That is a whopping $1.3 billion. And it looks like leading up to this $1 billion Bitcoin buy, they were buying small test amounts just to maybe prove to some authority. Maybe this is a convicted hedge fund trader, who knows, but it is not an ETF wallet. And so it's very, very interesting to see this much of a buy, because there's only 300 billionaires in the world, and this right here is one of them, or some fund. I would have to say this is bullish. But on the flip side, then, look at this right here. JP Morgan's next on the list. One thing to note, these people have never been to exit liquidity, and they never will be. Okay, Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan, he's smart money. And he is selling $150 million of stock in JP Morgan, the USA's largest banks. We've seen these same actions from Bezos, Zuckerberg, even Bill Gates, all unloading billions in what are typically pretty safe stocks. And last time something like this happened, the stock market topped. And I think yesterday or the day before, hit all-time highs again. And that's when we had the nuke from Bitcoin going to 50,000 all the way down to 15,000. Some people are calling for 100K Bitcoin before we have a correction. Some people are saying we're going to have a correction soon. Who knows? But Bitcoin has had a pretty good start to this year and a pretty good last 6 months. Federal Reserve, talking about Ripple here. Simultaneously, by 2015, the whole payments industry was caught in the enchantment of blockchain disruption. Cross-border payments were considered particularly ripe because they lack a centralized infrastructure operating at a global level, and they are riddled with intermediaries and sometimes outdated technology like SWIFT. So here they're just admitting SWIFT is outdated tech. Even central banks like the Bank of England, the Federal Reserve, why do they even call it federal? It's private. And the Saudi Arabia Monetary Authority had collaboration with Ripple connected to domestic payments updating. Ripple was also invited to SWIFT's conference from 2014 to 2016. Several senior executives from Ripple spoke at Money 2020 in 2018. So it's clear there's some collaboration here. Now, the Federal Reserve has their own system called FedNow, but there's a reason why they are collaborating with Ripple, why the Bank of England is collaborating with Ripple, and why the Saudi Arabia Monetary Authority is collaborating with Ripple. Funny tweet here. So some guy who used to work with Satoshi Nakamoto in the early days creating Bitcoin dropped an archive of thousands of emails. And it goes to show Satoshi Nakamoto was a little bit of a troll. He hypothesized naming it, instead of BIT coin, TIT coin, because it would be a lot more popular. Regardless, he went with Bitcoin. Also, guys, I've been seeing with these email leaks, someone edited an email where Satoshi Nakamoto basically, I've already seen a few YouTubers clickbait and just blatantly lie to you guys. Maybe they're just dumb and don't know it's fake, but if you see an email and it's Satoshi is saying XRP is better than Bitcoin, XRP is the standard, it's fake, okay? But he does say some positive things about Ripple. Here are Satoshi's comments on Ripple Pay, conceptualized by Ryan Fugger. He says, are you familiar with Ripple? He says, as trust systems go, Ripple is unique in spreading trust rather than concentrating it. Ripple is interesting in that it's the only other system that does something with trust besides concentrate it into a central server. So, good to see a little bit of praise from the man who created this whole asset class of cryptocurrency. So Ripple has a partnership with the Digital Euro Association, It involves Ripple serving as a technology partner for various central bank digital currency projects. Specifically, Ripple was selected as the tech partner for the National Bank of Georgia. Talked about that in yesterday's video. Let's take a listen to this clip.
Yeah, we have like a team of different people, like a DIA board, which includes myself. And before I go into the presentation of the DIA, briefly about myself, so for the people who don't know me, I'm one of the co-founder of the Digital Euro Association. We co-founded it actually 2 years ago, and do have a background in economics, monetary policy, have basically done lots of research on CBDC, and yeah, are one of the core founders together with, for example, Philipp Sandner here at the Frankfurt School that most of you might know as well. And we have set this up. And we have basically become now a think tank that is specializing in CBDCs and stablecoins. So that's like what we do, an independent voice. We want to bring people together. We want to impact the discussions on digital money, be it stablecoins and CBDCs. So we are also in discussion with lots of European, supranational, national institutions when it comes to, you know, both regulation.
And John Deaton, XRP community member, he's a lawyer. This is the guy that led the class action lawsuit for XRP holders against the SEC. He's announced his run for Senate. And even Mark Cuban, billionaire, retweeted John Deaton's run for Senate. If you guys support crypto, you support having regulators who understand the technology, John Deaton's your guy. And Elizabeth Warren, I guess, is who he's running against. And Charles Gasparino talks about why she's so afraid of this guy, John Deaton.
The Democratic senator from Massachusetts, Elizabeth Warren, apparently, according to reports, our own Charlie Gasparino, frantically rallying her donor base to help her ward off a new GOP challenger for her Senate seat. Charlie, who's got her worried?
His name is John Deaton. He has been on this show with you many times.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't tell me about my collar. Sorry. In any event, you have to dress me, too.
I know, garanimals.
By the way, I should point out my producer, Ellie Terrett's been doing amazing work on this. This is her reporting for the most part. And she's been following this campaign. Now, you know, she came to me and says, John Deaton, this crypto attorney, he's the guy that's behind the Ripple. He was for the Ripple the XRP holders. He was essentially one of their top lawyers in fighting back the SEC assault on Ripple and XRP. She says he's got a chance. I didn't believe it. And then all of a sudden, she starts reporting about, this is really interesting, Liz. Elizabeth Warren, like one of the top senators in the country. Ensconced. Is sending all these emails out, frantically looking to raise money, calling him a MAGA GOPer that's backed up by Wall Street. I mean, it's so over the top. It's also so wrong.
He's not.
Well, he's not MAGA at all. He doesn't support either. I mean, he's essentially a moderate Republican, ex-Marine. Centrist guy, not MAGA. Basically says he's not crazy about either Biden or Trump. And he doesn't.
Like most of the country.
Like most of the country right now, if you believe in polls. He's kind of like there. And here's the other thing that's interesting. I had Ellie look this up. Her polling is starting to fade off. He might just have a chance. Now, I mean, you know, obviously she's going to be raising a ton of money. She's trying to do it right now. She's employing other senators to help her out to raise money. So she's going to come at him with everything she's got. But you got to ask yourself, why is she so afraid of John Deaton, who essentially is a kind of a cult figure, a cult hero, I guess you could say, with a very narrow portion of the population that holds XRP, crypto. You know, he does put out a popular blog. But, you know, she sees something in him. And I think what she sees in him is that the country is in many ways not far right, not far left.
Right.
They're somewhere in the middle. They don't like what's going on the border. They hate inflation. They don't like tons of spending. They don't like the far left. They hate wokeism. You know, that's a lot of stuff that she stands for. And she might just lose independence in that state. You know, Massachusetts is a wonky state. Mitt Romney was the governor. I think Charlie Baker was the last Republican governor recently. Or is he
popular? And Bill Weld was a Republican
So remember,
governor.
it can go back.
Salucci.
It can go back and forth. Who knows where this ends up? It'll be very interesting. Scott Brown had this seat before her. Remember that? Yeah, remember, Republican. So this is going to be really interesting. Stay tuned. There's a reason why she's freaking out. It's not because of his bald.
So moving forward, it is interesting to see Elizabeth Warren sending out these emails, lying about John Deaton, slandering him, saying, framing him as this, Donald Trump type of guy. But it'll be a tough race against Elizabeth Warren, that's for sure. Now for this tweet from this guy named C. Demonicor, talking about Ripple and the re-architecture, if that's a word, of the global financial infrastructure.
People really don't believe that they are building a new financial infrastructure. Here you can see an up-and-coming event, the 4th through the 8th of March, Japan FinTech Festival. Well, if you head right down here, just to show you guys, as always, Ripple in some way, shape, or form is and has their hand in this new financial infrastructure that they are building. You go to attending organizations and you scroll down here, you can clearly see that there are no other large market participants in the digital asset and blockchain space, aside from Circle, whom we know is heavily embedded with Ripple and XRP. The CEO of Circle mentioning that they can scale utilizing a company like Brad's company, right?
Internet between counterparties. And so if we can, improve it with more scalable blockchain technologies like, Brad's company.
Right. So we obviously, of course, know that they're involved in this, but you can clearly see that there are no large other market participants in this list aside from Ripple. Okay, there's Ripple right there. And what are they going to be talking about at this event? Well, here you can see the program agenda. And if you scroll right down here, you can see core themes, re-architecting the global financial infrastructure.
So I actually feel like we're kind of at the starting line now. It took us 10 years. But we're now kind of truly at the starting line for building this out in a much more meaningful way.
Ripple was set up 10 years ago, to be the company to find real-world use cases for the XRP ledger and XRP, the digital asset.
But look, Ripple at its core is a blockchain infrastructure company serving enterprises. We started with payments and financial institutions. We've moved into custody, a lot of overlap with those same financial institutions. But we're going to expand with that same thematic of infrastructure, enterprise-based, that served us well.
And so the key thing that's happening right now is there are huge improvements being made in what I'll just broadly call blockchain infrastructure.
Okay. They are, for a fact, ladies and gentlemen, building a new financial system. And if you can't zoom out and see what they're doing behind the scenes, you need to wake up, you need to do your research,